With us now, we have White House correspondent for Politico and co-author of The Playbook, Eugene Daniels. He's a Morning Joe senior contributor and contributing writer at New York Times Magazine. Robert Draper, he's the author of the new book titled Weapons of Mass Delusion, When the Republican Party Lost Its Mind. And another step in that direction, Robert, we'll come back to those questions about the House of Representatives, but you could add a new chapter to your book after what we saw on Tuesday night and what we're seeing in these races. There's all this talk about Donald Trump being in the rearview mirror. Easier said than done, of course. But what do you make, based on all the reporting you did for the book, about people wanting actually Donald Trump, wishing for him to go away, about that perhaps becoming a reality somehow politically for them now?
Sure, Willie. As you and Mika were talking about earlier, we've been to this dance before on January the 6th, and look, there was a reason why people changed their minds after January the 6th. Republican members, and that's not because they suddenly were reminded of their fondness for Trump. It was that they went back home and talked to their constituents. And as long as the MAGA movement persists, as long as there are tens of millions of Americans who adore Donald Trump, then they are not going to move on. And frankly, there's no evidence at all that constituents from the Republican Party, from the hard right base that constitutes the centrifugal force of the Republican Party, that they have any less affection for Donald Trump than they did, a week ago. And I suspect that they will be galvanized yet again when Trump makes his announcement next week.
So you expect a full-throated support from all the Republicans who were with Trump before the midterms to be there for him during his announcement next week?
Yes, as long as their constituents love Trump and there's no indication that they've suddenly lost their affection for him, then yes, they will stand by Trump.
Eugene Daniels, your thoughts, and jump in with a question if you'd like.
No, I think that's absolutely right. I think that, we've seen this in 2016 multiple times, and we saw that when the Access Hollywood tape came out. We saw this after January 6th. Republicans have not proven that there is leadership. There's no one that wants to take out Donald Trump and ruin their own career. And a lot of these folks that could run are young. They're 20 to 30 years younger than him. And so why would they do that when they could possibly be president at some time and some later date? Robert, I'm curious, when you think about, and as you've been talking to a lot of these Republicans, as things have been shaking out, are they feeling like there is, outside of DeSantis, other people who would be willing to take on Donald Trump? We have Nikki Haley, for example, was someone who said she'd only run if Donald Trump did not run. Are people backing out of that because they see how weak he looked on Tuesday?
No, I don't see anyone who's stepping forward, Eugene. And frankly, DeSantis, though, there's been a lot of, kabuki going on. It's not as if DeSantis has said, I don't care whether Trump is throwing his head in the ring or not. I'm there. I mean, it remains to be seen whether DeSantis himself will stand up to Trump. But no, I certainly don't see any other candidate who, of any significance, that is, who would be willing to go toe-to-toe with Trump.
As we reported earlier, Donald Trump last night went on a long, unhinged social media rant purely about Ron DeSantis, trying to cut him down to size after his huge win in Florida a couple of nights ago. Eugene, let's go back to that race for Speaker. We'll just say now, for argument's sake, we haven't called the House yet, that Republicans do win the House just by a sliver of seats, as you can see on the bottom of our screen from our projection there. Now the fight to become the House Speaker. David Jolly was here a minute ago, former Republican congressman, saying this is no shoe-in for Kevin McCarthy. There are a lot of people who are going to want that seat. What does that fight look like? And if he wants it, if he gets the job, what will Kevin McCarthy have to cede to people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and the caucus that says we want to start impeachment hearings tomorrow?
Yeah, well, that speaker's fight is going to look nasty, is what it's going to look like. There doesn't seem to be someone else who would be the obvious choice after McCarthy. And so that's the one thing that he has really going for him. But he has been through this song and dance before. And, years ago, before Paul Ryan was the Speaker of the House, it was McCarthy who seemed poised to do it. And when he was talking to the House Freedom Caucus and they did the same thing that we're going to see them do soon, is telling him, we want this, this, and this. These are the concessions. He backed out, and he couldn't do that. It doesn't seem like he would back out now. And so the concessions, they've already kind of made clear that they want some of these hard right conservatives that promises to possibly, impeach and investigate people within the Biden world and also the president himself. And so that empowers people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, that empowers people like Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz, who already said he was not voting for McCarthy for Speaker, but that gives them a lot more power. And I've talked to some Republicans who have been hopeful before the midterms as we started seeing these results come in, saying, if we have a slim majority, that means that anybody could be, it could be Marjorie Taylor Greene, who has a lot of power, or someone who's a lot more moderate. And I don't think that's going to be the case. You're going to see these hard right conservatives not support him going into the speakership fight, or even if he was able to be speaker, they're going to be a thorn in his side, forcing him to do things that he has kind of already said he doesn't want to do. He's kind of already said he doesn't want to impeach President Biden, because they know that that can be seen as overreach by a lot of voters running into 2024. But that is not the role, and the people, the Trump-like Republicans, the MAGA Republicans, as President Biden likes to call them, they don't care about that.